Hey everyone, welcome to the Go Big with Leanne show, where we believe in empowerment through connection. And so my guest today is one of my favorite guys. We met, he thinks 2013. I don't know, because my memory doesn't work that way. So 7, 8 years ago. And oddly enough, we met in a bar, and neither one of us go to bars, but we were at an event and we just connected from there. And we've done lots of projects together. But Kristian is the master marketer of building relationships and follow up. And so anybody out there that has a business, or you want to be the good neighbor that has all the contacts, or an entrepreneur that, this subject is super important to everybody. And so I was so grateful that Kristian agreed to come on and have a conversation with me, because he's a great guy. And, he's admitted he took notes on me when he met me. And I will say, I just love that he, knows my name, knows things about me. And, we all know that we love that when someone remembers things about us. So, and I am probably I love connections. So that's why my show is all about connections. And so I try to kind of master what Kristian talks about. So, but for now, I'm going to turn it over to Kristian, let him introduce himself, and we'll get going on this fun topic.
All right. Well, thanks for having me. It's flattering. Honestly, I don't know. I'm not particularly smart or intelligent or anything like that. I have had success online and in business with people, and I've also failed. I've mostly failed, actually, if to be honest. I've definitely gotten really good at failing. But one of the things I learned over the years, probably the single most beneficial thing anybody ever did for me from a mentoring or a coaching perspective, my old friend, Nancy Eckert, I hope she sees this. Love you, Nancy. Like, holy cow, you changed my life. Totally changed my life. The day that she called me and said something like, hey, Kristian, how do you keep track of people? And I said something like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? I write stuff down, I guess. She was like, wrong answer. I want you to run, don't walk, to the software store. And I think I went to CompUSA or something like that. This is like a long time ago. And I got a program that would allow me to put people's names in, their phone number, their email, and then take notes. I never used to do that until Nancy got in my face, because she cared, and said, you have to do this. You have to. This is critical to your success. And ever since, I've done that. It's been 15 years or so, maybe 16, 17 years now. So when Leanne and I were talking before going live, we're trying to remember, when did we cross paths? Well, I can look, because it's in my notes.
Oh, man.
Always take the notes.
Very good. That's again, that goes back to building those relationships. And the other, Kristian introduced me to video marketing. So I owe him great debt to kind of get me, into the trenches before it was really popular of doing live videos and YouTube videos and things like that. But I wasn't as smart as him to start taking notes on people in a organized manner. And, the other thing I love, Kristian, is you're just, you're real. You show your life to others, you like adventure, and it's just, that relationship building is a two-way street. It's not just always, you talking about Kristian. It's about talking about things that your customer would be interested in. And people will buy from you when they know, like, and trust you.
Yeah.
So building that relationship, if you don't do that, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. Would you agree?
Oh, totally. Yeah. I think a lot of newer, I was going to say marketers, but I don't know if we could even call them marketers yet.
Right.
Wannabe, entrepreneurs, wannabe marketers. I love those people. I love that group. Spent a lot of time. I was that guy for years and years and years, trying. Right. And one of the most common mistakes I see in this, especially in any sort of relationship marketing sort of world, whatever label anybody wants to put on that, it doesn't bother me, whatever people call it. Just bottom line, I feel like it's relationship marketing. So if the new person's tendency is to just kind of pick up the megaphone and kind of yell,
Right.
And obnoxious and not helpful.
Right.
Not prone to creating or developing or enhancing relationships.
Uh-huh.
It's mostly like, oh, that's so obnoxious. Please do that somewhere else, And they don't mean it that way. I never
Right.
meant it that way, but I did it all the time in my zeal,
Right.
my emotion. I would just go yell. What I found though, if people can kind of hit pause for a minute on their emotions and remember, most people you run into, they're tuned into kind of that what's in it for me space.
Right.
I've lived most of my life in that space. Most of us do. It's unusual to run into somebody, frankly, like you, Leanne, who often isn't, who is in tune with the needs of others and approaches life more from how can I serve, who can I help, what kind of difference can I make? Not that, there are a lot of people that do that.
Right.
There are a lot of people that think that and do make a dent, do make a difference. It's really unusual, I think, to run into people who normally do that, like just routinely do that. That's not normal. So it makes sense for us to be focused on them. And I've just gotten in the habit over the years of trying to clear my head of any agenda, because I usually am excited about something,
Right. Yes.
You start asking, okay, I'll start talking. But mostly I want to know about you. What makes you tick?
Yeah.
Who are you? What's going on in your neighborhood? What's going on in your family? What's going on with work? What's going on in your head? And I've gotten in this habit of asking a lot of questions and listening. I mostly listen. And I feel like until, especially for anybody engaged in some sort of relationship marketing, until you have an idea of how you can help somebody, if you can, because maybe you I don't really have any business picking up any megaphones.
Right. Yeah.
So.
And you said a key thing, be a good listener, because, a good contact manager system or note system doesn't work if you're not listening for those key things. Because it could be as simple as, learning that your best friend hates chocolate. So you put that in the notes, and then you don't send them chocolate cake on their birthday. Or you're like, for me, when I first started dating Dale, I said, the most important day in my life is my birthday. You can screw up every other day. So if you learn something like that about your customer, that their birthday is like super, super important to them, then you can make a big deal out of it. If you took notes on that, or, their dog's name, or, something, you find that thing that really like excites them and inspires them to live the good life. And you take the time to listen and then put it down in writing. Because we all think, I'm the queen of thinking, I'll remember this.
Mistake.
No, I won't. I will not remember that.
It'd be one thing if, you only knew 5 people and you talk to the same 5 people all the time, then, okay, it's pretty easy to keep things straight probably. But I think an interesting thing that I haven't heard a lot of people talk about over the years, but I've observed this. I think most of us feel good when we add value or do something to help people. That always feels good. It almost feels selfish to help people sometimes, because it's so self-serving in the end. Right. But what I've found over the years is as I've taken notes, and when I meet people, I'm just in this habit where I collect information. I'm just always collecting information. So I'll give you one example. I ran into a handyman at Starbucks. He was in line in front of me, filthy. And I used to be a plumber, so I get it. I've worked in really nasty crawl spaces and stuff.
Yeah.
So I know what you look like after you had done work like that. So I started to give him a hard time. Never met the guy, and my personality is that I'm always joking around about something. And sometimes it's not very well received, but usually it is. In this case, he took it perfectly in stride, We ended up exchanging information, no agenda. Just, hey, I used to do, really demanding physical labor, and I hurt my back, and where I do stuff from home now, I do stuff online. I run into people that need stuff all the time, though. So what are you good at? What kind of jobs do you like doing? What do you prefer to do? I'll take some notes. I'll take your info, and I'll keep you in mind. Happy to steer work your way. And so I started steering work his way gradually. It was every 3 or 4 or 5 months, I'd run into somebody locally that needed something. And, hey, I know a guy.
Yeah.
And got rave reviews each time. So this started to build up kind of a head of steam. After a few years of this, I got to know the guy well enough to establish in my own mind, okay, you know what? I think I could help this guy. So things started to go to another level, have gone to another level, but it was very natural. Yeah. And in the interim, the additional connections and the additional value, what am I doing? Really, I'm not really doing all that much. When my neighbor needs some help and I say, hey, call Pete.
Yeah.
It's an easy solution for a neighbor. It's work for Pete. And I'm pretty sure my neighbor's going to be happy because Pete's a solid guy and does what he says he's going to do. So just value, little bits of value being added. It makes the person who behaves that way becomes more valuable over time. And it's kind of self-serving. What am I really doing? I'm just pointing, I'm connecting people is all. But it's really simple to do. And a lot of people I don't think a lot of people really catch those details.
Yeah, I think for most of us, we're looking way too far out. And so we miss all the little things that are right in front of us. And, so that's one thing that I since I was a little girl, I loved connecting people. So I was like, I always wanted to be able to be that person that knew somebody that I could refer them to or hook them up with a job or hook them up with an idea. And that's kind of the whole idea behind my show, Go Big with Leanne, is to connect people with ideas, people, places, and things. So it's kind of like my dream job. Not sure how I'm going to get paid for doing it, but that's a story for today. But I know, several months ago, you're really struggling with finding a contact management system that met all your needs. And so you found one, right? I
did.
That's your liking.
Yeah. So this has been a long-term issue for me. I think I started with Microsoft Outlook, 1,000 years ago, and it was okay. It was better than nothing.
Right.
But it was missing a lot of basic functionality that the more I learned, the more I used it, the more I thought, oh man, I wish it did this, or I wish it did that, or I wish I could do this or that. I made it work. Eventually I transitioned to other contact relationship management tools and platforms and stuff. I've spent money. I've done the free stuff. I think I've done just about everything. I've spent a lot of money, and I've spent a little bit of money. I've even done free. And so more recently, I really have wanted to settle in to a single place, because when you take hundreds or thousands of contacts from something to something else, it's technical. If you can even do that sort of thing and retain timestamps and stuff, it's not easy. So I found Contact Squirrel. Let's see, you've got the address here. I love it. It's almost like it was purpose built for me. It's almost like it does exactly what I want it to do. And it doesn't have a bunch of, one of the issues that I've had over the years, there's a lot of platforms out there that do everything under the sun. And the developers and stuff, maybe they're like super brilliant, amazing people, and they're inventive, they do all these things. I don't need all the things.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, it's confusing to me. I'm a pretty simple guy.
Right.
And I usually when I'm working with people and trying to help people out, what I found is if I'm steering them in a direction of something that's complicated, sophisticated, and maybe a little bit towards the expensive side of things, it's tough. It doesn't stick very well. It doesn't serve them very well. Simple is better, I think, usually, unless you're specializing, and you absolutely need all the shine, the bells and whistles. I think most people don't really need that. Most of us just need something simple that works, that I don't have to think about, really.
Right.
So yeah, big plug for Contact Squirrel. You run their customer service, right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, yeah, it's been great. I've had a great experience with you guys. I love using the platform. I have it open on my phone constantly. The mobile version works great. It checked off all the boxes that I was looking for. It's simple. It's very inexpensive, simple. And if you're, so my calendar, one other kind of interesting side note, very relevant to anybody that's engaged in probably just about any kind of entrepreneurial pursuit at all. What I've gotten in the habit of doing over the years, so I'm collecting information. And as I collect that information, I put dates, times, I put appointments for myself on my calendar. And I'd estimate probably 95% of my appointments, they're just with me.
Right.
I'm not saying, hey, Leanne, let's do this on such and such a date necessarily. I do that too.
Yeah.
But most of my appointments are with myself. And it's a note to myself on my calendar. Tomorrow's Leanne's birthday. Be sure to say something.
Right.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's prompts really for myself to take the next action, make the next move. And it's driven from a place, and this is maybe goes without saying, I don't know, but I think I would encourage entrepreneurs. Most that I've met, I think, are kind of wired this way anyway. But my observation of really good businesses out there, like my favorite businesses, are the ones that serve people really well.
Yes.
They're so focused on making me happy.
Yep.
Giving me exactly what I want, filling exactly the hole I need filled or whatever.
Right.
Of course, I love those businesses the most. I happily give them money. I look forward to giving them money.
Yes.
I want to trade. Here, take some money, and I want whatever it is you do in exchange, right? And that's good basic business. So collecting and managing information and then using it to prompt your next move in the interests of serving others as best you can.
Right.
Which, I don't know, does that require caring or not? I don't know if it requires it, but it's easier if you do care.
Right.
Like, do I want Leanne to have a really good day? Yes.
Yeah.
I like Leanne. Like, I genuinely do. It's not just on my calendar because it's the logical next move.
Right.
It comes from a place of care and concern.
Yeah. And I think people can sniff that out too. If you're just doing it for just, salesy reasons, it's not going to last very long. And the salesperson, I don't think they can stick with doing it because it feels too much like work. But when you're doing it from a place of caring and authenticness, then it doesn't feel like work. It just feels like being a good human being, which, that's what I strive to do every day. So then it's like, it's not draining, but if it feels like a sales pitch or whatever, then that is draining. So I love that. And in this day and age too, we've had no one would have imagined what 2020 was going to look like in our wildest dreams. So there's a lot of noise, there's a lot of fear, there's a lot going on right now. So the more that you can just take a deep breath and really think about who your customer is and how you can bring a little bit of peace and calmness and love to their day, then you are definitely going to stand out in their mind because most people are just scrambling right now. So again, it goes back to the simple things in everyday life end up meaning the most. I mean, most of us, we have those big like Disneyland experiences, but the day your child smiles at you, or like my grandkids say, yeah, I'm like, that's magical, And so, even just those little things. And that's what we want to do with our customers. And if you have a good contact manager system. And the other thing I love about Contact Squirrel is, if you're a big leader in a company, you can actually share some of your templates and cool things. So if you want to deep dive into the actual product, you can go to the site. There's an intro video, but if that's not enough, I'd be happy to set up a more in-depth training for big leaders and their teams or whomever. We've got people that are willing to do that. So We don't, Kristian uses it, but he's a customer. So I don't expect him to, do all that. We will be happily to give tours and things like that, because it's a great needed product, but it's also, like Kristian has well stated, it's just about being a good person. And in that, then, and because I use it just to track, my family and interviews and things like that. And it's very, very helpful because it's all in one place. And a click of a button, I can add some notes and have it all right there. And it's like Kristian said, if things get too complicated, I just shut down and I'm like, oh, never mind, so simple. I think simple is good for most of us.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no learning curve, please. I don't want to. I'm tired of learning.
Yeah, no kidding.
Sometimes.
Yeah. If you're learning on the beach, with those beautiful waves crashing in, I'm landlocked in Kansas, and Kristian's, enjoys the beautiful scenes of.
I don't know if you'll be able to see the water.
The
way the lighting is, I don't know.
Yeah, I can't see it, but I can imagine it. Oh, yeah.
It's out there.
Oh gosh.
Sorry, I had to.
No, that's right. That's right. It's actually a beautiful day in Kansas today. We had a cold front move in, crazy. The winds were like 60 miles per hour, but it's only like 80 degrees today. So, but
cold front.
Well, it's been like 95, close to 100. So,
wow.
But I want to be respectful of your time, Kristian. And again, you're a great person. You're a great leader, and you've done a really fantastic job of, being that person that builds those relationships. And then the key, we didn't really talk about much, but, follow up. A lot of people get those contacts in there and they learn a few things about them, but then it just sits dormant in their management system. So we didn't talk much about that, but so any couple pointers about follow up?
Yeah. So I think for me personally, having the functionality to be able to tie my calendar into my contact relationship management setup, whatever that is, over the years, that's been a big deal. If it's more than a couple clicks, it's a deterrent for most of us. Like, we live in such an instant gratification world, don't we? Man.
Yes.
It needs to be efficient and simple. So what I do, I have tied your guys' setup to my calendar, and it's really clean, really simple, couple clicks, and I'm booking things for myself. So whether it's because most of mine are just reminders, kind of notes to self.
Right.
I use it constantly for that. So it shows up on my calendar. One big follow-up tip, probably maybe the biggest follow-up advice I could give somebody, would be go from appointment to appointment. So when you do an appointment, you should be setting the next appointment. Often that'll just be with yourself.
Right.
Most often it's for yourself. It's a note to yourself to reach out and take whatever the next logical step is for whatever you're trying to accomplish, or however you're trying to help. If you come from a place of service and who can I help? How can I help? It's really, it does really change the nature of, it changes how everything feels on both sides. It can be tough. I run into people, and I know you have too, who they're really hurting financially, and especially in 2020, a lot of people in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
So you will run into people who say, I need to make, X number of dollars yesterday, please.
Right.
If you're in that reality, I've been there. I lived a lot of my life there. I know what that feels like. I feel your pain. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
My advice would be somehow get your head in a different place and focus on serving others. The fastest way to solve your own challenges would be to go serve a bunch of people, go help a bunch of people, go fill a bunch of people's needs. Yeah. Find a way to do that. Again, it just comes back to basic business. In times of great need, like we're in now, the bigger the problem, usually the bigger the solution. There are big solutions out there. Go be a part of a solution somehow. And the more you can pour yourself into serving others and filling needs, the more you'll find you're okay.
Yeah. I think there's a ton of opportunity right now. So like you said, if you shift your mindset a little bit and be willing to get your hands dirty and go out there and serve, it will come back. It may not be immediate, and that's when you may have to use Facebook Marketplace and sell a few of your stuff, you know.
Yep.
To get yeah, but you can build relationships that way too. You know, just make sure you treat everybody with respect. So at the end of the day, you know, it's being a good listener, being a good human being, being respectful, and coming from that point of service is, you know, keep it simple. And then use a great system that helps you stay organized. Because if you have a bunch, like I was the queen of sticky notes and a notebook, but I couldn't remember which page of the notebook I had them on, and half the note was on one page and half the note was on 3 pages later. I'm like, does this go with this person or that person? So, you know, it's easier to from the beginning to. But not everybody's at the beginning. But if you're at the beginning of a starting whatever kind of adventure that involves people, get going with your contact management system now versus later, because it's also a habit that you have to form. So good listening is not most people's strong suit. So you have to practice these habits, practice being a good listener, practice being a servant leader, and practice taking good notes in a logical, organized manner.
Yep.
That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I mean, what we have just done here is like a mass. If you're in relationship, if you're watching this and you do some sort of relationship marketing based kind of a business, this stuff, I can't think of anything that's more important that takes precedence over this stuff. Yeah, this is like the foundation. If you're not doing this, you're probably just going to spin your wheels. Yeah. And be really frustrated.
Yeah, exactly. And then you're going to come back and watch this video in a year and go, man, I should have listened to them.
I should have been collecting contacts. Yeah, I was in a mode for a long time, for years and years, where I would not let myself go to bed unless I had added 2 contacts to my list. Yeah. No agenda, no agenda involved. I'm just expanding my network, period. Yeah. Stayed in the habit for years, and my network now is over 12,000 people that I've taken notes on and talked with, and
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing, because the brain, I think they say that in our brain we can only keep track of I think 100 or less.
I don't think my brain can handle that.
Mine can't, but I think scientifically, I think they say we can only manage 100. So. So if you're thinking you're one of those people that could manage 12,000 contacts, then you're not a good thought. But
no.
So I think we'll wrap this up, and I appreciate people joining us. And Kristian, again, thank you for your time and your knowledge, because you're just fantastic at what you do. But you're just being you. That's the cool thing. But you've gotten really good at being you. And
I figure that out. The older you get, the more you figure that out, I think.
Yeah. So if you have any questions about Contact Squirrel, feel free to, comment here. I'll get you the information. If you're friends with Kristian, he can hook you up with me and get you set up, or you can just go straight to the site, because it's not affiliate based or anything. It's just, there's a free trial, 7 days, no credit card needed. And then the cost is very, very low entry, affordable for even if you're just using it for personal use to track, your plumber and your neighbors and everybody else. So, so I'm good. Any final parting words of wisdom, Kristian, for anybody out there?
So my dad, one last thing. My dad used to tell my brothers and sisters, and I have 8 brothers and sisters, four of each kind. So we got an occasional lecture. We were very deserving on occasion of some lecturing.
Right.
My dad used to say, and I think it's appropriate in this setting, if you want shade, the best time to plant an oak tree is 100 years ago.
Right.
The next best time is right now.
Yeah. So
I would encourage you, regardless of what you do in life, I would encourage you, start keeping track of people. Start taking notes. Start remembering these digitally, remembering these things, because you will forget. We do forget. And if you start taking notes now, who knows where you'll be 6 months, 12 months, 24 months from now. I am so grateful for my friend Nancy caring enough to get in my face and say, you need to do this now. Not, hey, this is really important eventually. No, you need to get up and do this now. So that'd be my parting advice. Take this really seriously and do it now.
Yeah. So we'll be Nancy. So you heard it from Kristian and Leanne that do it now, because you deserve it. Everybody on here deserves to have success, deserves to have a fulfilling life, and deserves to have those quality relationships. And quality relationships take nurturing. So nurture yourself, nurture relationships, and just be a good person. And we will close out for today. So thank you, everyone. And Kristian, I, again, greatly appreciate everything that I've learned from you.
Thank you.
It's been a fun ride. So
Yep. Good seeing you. Thanks for having me on.
All right. Bye-bye.
See ya.